It's the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm, episode number 214. I am Mike Grimm, voice of the Golden Gophers, and welcome back to the podcast. We're talking Golden Gopher hockey this week on the Go Gopher Podcast. It was early last week that Athletic Director Mark Coyle announced the hiring of Greg Boom May as the new head hockey coach for the women's program at the University of Minnesota. After a week of breaking in as the new bench boss, a few recruiting trips and visits, Boom May is set to join me this week on the Go Gopher Podcast. We'll get to know Boom a little better and find out what makes him tick. I know you'll enjoy the show this week. Our Go Gopher Podcast is presented by alumni-owned Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're a business founder planning to exit your business, start by contacting Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. Sunbelt serves more businesses up to $5 million in revenue than anyone, and True North M&A serves companies with revenues up to $150 million. Get a confidential, no-cost, no-obligation business valuation started today. Hey, make the most of your life's work. Visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com today. Longtime Gopher sports supporter Cub is a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher Podcast with Mike Grimm. In a hurry? Don't worry, Cub delivers. Get fresh meat, produce, everyday essentials, and more delivered to your door. Cub is the official grocer of the Golden Gophers and proud to support Gopher athletics for over 20 years. Shop happy. The Go Gopher Podcast is also presented by onX Maps. Find out how to download the onX Fish app for free by listening to the Go Gopher Podcast. We're podcasting episode 214 from the Aquarius Home Services studio. We invite you to subscribe or follow the Go Gopher Podcast. It's free to do so. You can also go back and listen to the Go Gopher Podcast from previous weeks. Last episode, for example, we had Golden Gopher basketball player Tori McKinney on previewing the Sweet 16. This week, we're talking Golden Gopher women's hockey with brand new head hockey coach Boom May. He'll join me next.
Hey, Gopher fans. Jalen Crocker-Johnson here from Minnesota men's basketball. In basketball, wins come from preparation, trust, and executing when it matters the most. That's how True North Mergers and Acquisitions approaches selling your businesses. True North M&A is a local alumni-owned company and a proud sponsor of Gopher Athletics, helping businesses of all sizes make winning moves. Thinking about selling? True North's M&A helps maximize your life's work and close strong in crunch time. Visit tnma.com for confidential conversation.
This is Jim Suhan for TSR Injury Law, 612-TSR-TIME. TSR Injury Law started off as a small business. They are now a large, very successful business because they help people, because they win cases. If you are injured, call 612-TSR-TIME. They will help you out or point you in the right direction. They will not charge you unless they win your case, and they win a lot of cases. We don't want you to need their help. They don't want you to need their help. But if you do need their help, call 612-TSR-TIME.
It's episode 214, the Go Gopher Podcast. We're talking Golden Gopher women's hockey. Greg Boom May, the new hockey coach. We are talking on Monday, and it was a week ago today that Greg Boom May was named the new head hockey coach for the Golden Gopher women's hockey team. And now we get to chat with him. Hello, sir.
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you again. How has this last 7 days been for the new head hockey coach for the Gopher women?
It's been a whirlwind, as you can imagine. I keep telling people this, and it sounds so corny, but these last, I guess, week now, 2 weeks, has felt like 6 months, honestly. It's crazy that it's only been 2 weeks, but we hit the ground running right away. I was on the road recruiting late last week, so it's been a whirlwind for sure.
And I suppose, and you talked about this, the recruiting aspect of it is huge. So, and I know sometimes you can't talk about, who you're recruiting, until, kids get signed and all that. But generally, how's the reception been now that you've talked to prospective students? I suppose you're also recruiting your own roster a little bit whenever there's a switch like this, and even when there's not, right? I mean, in the new day and age of the portal, you're probably recruiting your own team and others.
Totally, yeah. And then we, with going back to our own team first, as soon as we got the news with Frosty, We met with every player individually, one-on-one and or one on staff, and made sure that things were good there, which knock on wood they are. We have one player in the portal right now, Sophia Johnson, who has kind of been our number 3 goalie the last handful of years. She's an incredible person. Has done so much for our program, and we had a great conversation actually a couple days ago, and just told her, like if I'm your dad, which I'm not, and you want to play, it's probably best to go in. And she totally understood it, and she wants to play at the end of the day, right? She's been backing up for the last few years and working her butt off in practice, and she wants to give it a shot and see what she can do. So totally respect that. From a commit standpoint, I want to say we're 11 for 11 if I got that number right, as far as players that are still on board and everything. But you're exactly right. Like, it's in today's day and age, coaching change or not, you're constantly recruiting and re-recruiting your current roster, your commits, and a little bit different here because of the coaching change, but at the same time, probably would have been doing the same thing anyway.
Yeah. When you go chat with a recruit and their family, what is the? Obviously you want to eventually create that relationship. So take me into a living room when you're in there. What does Greg Boom may say to a family and to a prospective student athlete?
Yeah, geez, that's a great question. Big question. I think first and foremost, it's going to sound like an arrogant comment, but we are the Gophers, and University of Minnesota women's hockey speaks for itself. We're one of a few schools, I guess I would say, that the elite of the elite, not only in our country but in Canada and even in Europe, they know who we are. They want to play for us. We of course talk about our resources, our facilities. Our staff they're all pros. They're the best of the best in every position that we have them in. Things I guess that kind of like from a separation standpoint, we talk a lot about skill development. We have our own sheet of ice here, which not every team can say. To go a step further, it's not even an old men's rink. It's literally a rink that was built for our team. So from a skill development standpoint, I'm not sure if anyone else can really touch us as far as ice availability and everything like that. In the past, or these past few years, I have kind of taken the lead on that skill development piece. As I'm hiring staff and stuff, of course, that's going to be something that plays into effect here too. Video is a huge component of what we do, not only team video, but individual video. Nowadays, players get their own shifts. They watch their own shifts. They're, again, I keep using this word, but they're pros.
Yeah.
So not only are they on top of things on their own, but they want to meet with coaches also one-on-one, and just making sure that we express to them that that's important to us as well, and we give them the time. I say oftentimes that your individual goals are just as important to me as our team goals, and I mean that, right? Like, all of our players want to play in the PWHL, they want to play on their national team, they want to be Olympians. So just making sure that it's very obvious that their individual goals are just important to me as they are to them as well. We're values based, we're process driven. None of that stuff is going to change. Some of these values may change here over the summer, just with the kind of the reboot I keep saying here. Yeah. But as far as that stuff goes, it's just showing that we're good people, we're good humans. We care about the player and the families as well. And we're in it with them, right? We're pulling the rope with them. We're not a hierarchical group where we're in their face and telling them, you got to do this, you got to do that. Just making sure that they know that we're relationship driven and that we're in it with them.
All right. So from a recruiting standpoint, and every sport here with the Gophers talks about keeping athletes home, right? Yeah. The Minnesota-based kids. PJ Fleck, day he got hired, that was one of the first questions he got asked. Nico Medved just hired as men's basketball. First day he got hired, how do you keep kids home? In women's hockey and girls hockey, it's even bigger probably. Now, I did AI on this, so I'm going to trust the numbers. I did a couple of different things, but one source I saw said of the American PWHL players, of all the Americans in the PWHL, 40% are from Minnesota.
Wow.
I don't know if that's right. We'll trust it for the moment.
Yep.
It's got to be something like that.
For sure.
And in college hockey, this was from 2 years ago. It's the only article I could find. 177 Minnesotans playing Division I hockey, which comprised about 29% of Americans on rosters. So there's a lot of girls that really are high-level playing here. You can't take them all.
Correct.
So that becomes, I suppose, as much of a challenge as any is and again, not to sound arrogant, but you kind of can choose sometimes. And there are a couple of other programs that want to swoop in and get the good ones too. So it isn't as easy as you're here. The rest of you can go. So what's your philosophy on keeping kids at home and then constructing a roster that includes Canadians and Scandinavians and everything else?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we are the state of hockey, right? We've been coined the state of hockey, and would I love to have a team full of Minnesotans? 100%. I would love it. We are also the Gophers, and it's very clear that we are here to win national championships. So our job is to get the best players, regardless of where they're from. Minnesota, the rest of the United States, Canada, Europe, etc. It's interesting. Our roster right now is probably about 50%, like almost to the number of Minnesotans. To your point, we still want to keep that talent here. If there's an elite Minnesotan, trust me, we're going after them, and we want them to stay here. I think what people forget is, these kids do have options, right? And not everyone wants to stay home. It's a great chance for them to get out of the state or get away from their families. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but just when else do you have the opportunity to go somewhere for a few years? Now, of course, we're going to sell hard as heck, and we're going to recruit them hard as heck to stay here. But people forget that there are other good programs around. And in the day now with social media and stuff, they're able to follow these programs, see their facilities, see their highlight reels and all that. And I grew up in Minnesota, so I grew up as a Gopher fan from the time I was 7 years old, watching the men's team on TV every Friday, Saturday night, following the newspapers on the radio and whatnot. So I'm a diehard. Like, I'm a diehard Gopher through and through every sport. But not everybody is. Like, not everyone who grows up here is, and we always think that they are. Again, with that said, our fan base is essentially youth hockey girls, their coaches, their parents. So to get the opportunity to have these women now, but that grew up as little girls wearing Gopher jerseys in the stands, I mean, it's just such a cool story. And I find that there's a little more sense of pride when they're in your locker room and they're stepping on Ritter Arena each and every weekend. There's just a little more sense of pride because they grew up following the Gophers. They know who we are. Their parents grew up as fans. Maybe their parents went to the U as well. So long answer, but would I love to keep these players home? 100%. I absolutely would. I'd love to have a roster full of Minnesotans, but it's also our job and our task to find the best players regardless where they're from.
When you look at the growth of girls and women's hockey too here, it's exponentially generational. Like every 10 years, you go back to the Kessels and the Marvins and some of the great players, and even before that, the Darwitzes and all of those players. But now you'll look, there's a pro league. You got Grace Zumwinkle, Taylor Heisey, Lee Steckline, former Gophers playing right here in this city as well. Can that help too? Like just these new girls are they have role models maybe more accessible to watch and touch and get autographs from than maybe 20 years ago.
Absolutely, and you use the word accessible. Like, I worked on the men's set for 16 years. And I hope this doesn't change. Maybe it will as the sport continues to grow on the women's side. But like, the accessibility of the women and the female athletes compared to the male athletes, like, it's not even close to the same. I have two young daughters. I have an 8-year-old and a 13-year-old. So I see firsthand in the rinks. Like, I mentioned this the other day. I can't remember what it was, maybe on KFan, but every I don't know, Tuesday, Thursday, or just midweek here, I'm in Bloomington Ice Garden with both my girls. All three rinks for multiple hours are packed with little girls. I shouldn't say little, high school age, all the way to U8s, and like the high end ones. It's actually amazing. I was talking to Winnie Broad, who runs that organization, OS Hockey, and I was like, it's just absolutely remarkable that there's that many girls that are under one roof for multiple hours each week. So I see firsthand just the growth of the girls' game, and I don't know if women's hockey has ever been in a better spot, like with the U.S. team winning the Olympics, this past Winter Olympics here, the growth of the PWHL, them being on TV, our games being on TV more and more often too. I don't know that it's ever been in a better spot. Yeah,
and you got players like Abby Murphy going viral for her. Was that against Mankato State? I think right with that play, and I mean 5 million views on one video. I mean, all of a sudden, 15, 10, 8-year-old girls see that and like, That's
right.
pretty cool.
Right. If I could talk about Murph just for one quick second, it has nothing to do with her as a hockey player, just going back to accessibility. Like my girls are in the locker room doing TikTok dances with Abby Murphy. Like that just doesn't happen on the men's side.
Right.
You know, you're talking about one of the giants of the women's game right now that still has time for young girls. And it's not just my kids. It's you see her doing that every single week with little fans.
Yeah. The when the change was announced, take me through kind of where you felt you landed, when you felt, okay, there's a legitimate chance here that maybe I can do this thing, in your conversations with Mark Coyle, and how quickly did that work, and how nervous were you, and hoping that we'd end up, I know the whole goal was for you to be on this podcast today, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's, it's funny, when Frosty hired me 3 years ago, I always knew I wanted to be his successor, and him and I had talked about that. It's bittersweet because him and I are so close. We've grown even closer over these last few years. I don't think either one of us wanted it to be just 3 short years together. Right. Of course, I'm benefiting from it now, but again, it's bittersweet because a good friend of mine, and again, I use the word giant, but a giant in women's college hockey is now out of his seat. So. From a timeline standpoint, that the news happened, I want to say might have been Monday, 2 weeks ago now, when Frosty was let go. And that day, I had a conversation with Mark Coyle. He actually had brought me in and just kind of let me know where I stood, and that I was a viable candidate and a top one. Again, what does that mean, right? Like, are you talking to 30 people? Are you talking to 2 people? What is that? And I said this earlier as well, but even those few days honestly felt like a month, as I'm, it's the stress of trying to keep our players here. It's the stress of, who on our staff is going after this job as well, who from other teams, you're hearing rumors everywhere and whatnot. So at the end of the day, it did go really fast. I mean, it was within a week, but it felt like an eternity as I was going through it.
Yeah. And so now you've got it, you're a week in. What is your vision? You talked about this a week ago at the news conference in terms of your style, what your expectation will be at a place that has pretty high expectations.
Yeah. I think just bringing structure, compete. I keep using the word bite and edge. We just been inconsistent these last few years, and I think structure brings a lot of consistency, like to have an actual blueprint that and a standard that we need to abide by every day. It starts in practice, of course. It starts with conversation with our players. It starts with video of and holding them to that standard each and every day. Like we've been inconsistent, like I mentioned, and when it's good, it's been really, really good. And you see us put up 8, 9, 10 double-digit goals on teams. And then when it's bad, it's just we've had a hard time digging out of the bad. Just kind of having that resolve, again, having that bite, having that edge. We got to have a clear identity to how we're playing, and it's a lot of what we're talking about right now. Playing with speed, like the speed and skill is never going to change. Like, again, we're the Gophers. I know it sounds arrogant, but we're always going to have talent up and down our lineup. And again, that's not going to change. But can we add just a touch more compete? Can a touch more intensity? A touch more structure to our game. Like, you add those pieces to our already deep depth of skill and speed. It's like, man, like we got a pretty dang good hockey team now. And now that's all to say we've been pretty dang good. Yeah. Also, that's the other thing people forget. Like it's hard to win, and we've been right there, but right there is not good enough for this program, which is exciting. It's exciting for our players, exciting for myself, that we do have those expectations. But in the game of hockey, there's referees, there's good goaltending, there's a bounce here, a bounce there, puck off a skate. There's just things that happen in games too. And by the way, the other team of 20 plus players is trying to beat you as well. So it's exciting times, but I think we gotta add a little more grit and a little more structure to our game, and just that constant relentless competition.
Yeah, I think too. You said be more aggressive in your news conference. So explain kind of what you mean by that part of how you want to see your team play. Yeah,
just in your face, like suffocating, smothering. When we get that puck, like let's keep the puck. It's hard enough, especially against the top teams, to get the puck back. Like when we have it, why are we just giving it up right away? Sometimes the best play is behind you, like just little things like that, just making sure we keep possession of it. If we do lose it, it's inevitable we're going to lose it. How are we working to get that puck back as fast as possible. Like, let's not wait to go 200 feet back into our D zone and hope we get it back. Like, let's smother them. Let's get in their face right away, and let's work our butt off for 50, 75, 100 feet and get that puck back. And, football term, but let's shorten the field for ourselves going the other way. So again, just it takes effort. Shifts might have to be shorter, but there's got to buy into that edge. And again, that suffocating mentality that we have to have, so that when teams play us, whether it's at Ritter or whether it's on the road, after a Friday night, it's like, man, I do not want to play those guys again tomorrow, win or lose. Like, that was a hard game, and that's what I would love for people to say when they see us play.
In women's hockey, especially, there was a time where you really couldn't do much checking. They didn't, there wasn't wanting to be real physical. That has shifted a little, right?
Yep,
There's some more stuff that gets allowed, but it's still called tighter, probably, than if people are at Mariucci watching the mid-play, and certainly NHL stuff. So what's the fine line there? You don't want to be in the penalty box a whole bunch. But with that shift where, hey, there's a little more contact allowed. So how do you coach that to make sure that you're skating the way you want to skate?
I think, again, it starts with your feet. Moving your feet, getting on top of people, taking away their time and space. It's teaching angles, working on angles, teaching angles, stick on puck or stick details, as we call it. You can bump, you can still rub out, going through hands, but if our hands get up and they're up in their shoulders, up in their face, our sticks are up, they're probably going to call it right now. So just being smart about using our bodies, understanding that when we're using our body, it's really an opportunity to stay on the defensive side of the puck or to get pucks back, of course, versus just blowing people up. But you watch the NHL game right now too, and even that has shifted. The playoffs are a whole nother animal and whatnot, but even that has shifted into way more of a skating game than even when I played 20, 25 years ago, where it was clutch and grab, and you're basically water skiing behind someone with your stick, and physical. Everything is bang, 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 no matter where you are on the ice. And even that game has become much more of a finesse, skill, fast skating type of game. Of course, they're still bumping and there's still grinding that's going on in the corners and whatnot. So just understanding, or just making sure our players understand the purpose behind why we're making contact, and then just teaching them how to do it with their feet and with their angles and stick. And
Murphy is a good example of someone who's so highly skilled and pretty aggressive, right? I mean, she's not scared to be physical. And this is, I'm sure, a philosophical question for coaches at every level, men's, women's, what have you, in regard to, do you recruit, particularly at Minnesota, where you can get, again, you're kind of picking sometimes. Do you pick a team that's just full of highly skilled, fast players that can handle the stick and fly by everybody, or do you need to recruit a roster that includes some more heavy players, gritty players, physical players? How do you, roster construction nowadays at every level, right?
It's a great question, and I feel like we've always kind of had, and even when I was on the men's side with Bob's staff too, and we've kind of always had our fourth line was recruited as first line players that just became a fourth line because
so much talent,
right? This past winter, I was with the U.S. under 18 team, and Courtney Kennedy was our head coach, actually a Gopher alum, awesome person. But that was kind of the first time that I had really seen a coach be so adamant about, and I'm using the term fourth line. I hate putting numbers on lines, but where she was so adamant about having a fourth line with our U.S. team that was a true fourth line, that bought into that role, that just skated out of their boots everywhere, just hunted everywhere they went. But when they got the puck, maybe it isn't going to look quite as great as the other 9 players that are on the ice. The production probably isn't going to be there like the other 9. And it worked for us. I mean, you talk about a team that was smothering, like that was our team for 2 weeks over there. It's just an interesting dynamic to think about of, we are the Gophers, so we're always going to attract the best players. But is there something to be said about getting a few players that just accept that spot? And when I say accept it, like there's so much value in that role, and not every player understands how much value there is, which is also our job as coaches to show that there is value there. But there's something to be said about that. Now, going back to Abby Murphy, like the ideal is to have an Abby.
12 of those,
yes,
you'd be pretty
exactly,
good.
Right. Have someone that's got the talent with her feet and hands and shot, but also plays on the edge and sometimes going over the edge as well. So I think a blend would be really good, but it's definitely something that I'm considering here as I go on the road. Is again, if we want to be competitive and if we want to have a little bit more of that bite and edge identity, that the players have to have it. And I don't know if it's just a light switch that they turn on when they step into Ritter Arena. I think it's something that they probably have and play with, at a young age as well.
More with Boom May on episode 214 next.
Know what the happiest bird is? Chicken. Cub fried chicken. Wait, let me rephrase that. Know what bird makes people happiest? Cub fried chicken. Crispy, crunchy, juicy, perfectly seasoned. It's the kind of chicken that disappears faster than you can say, 8-piece, please. Or, let's be real, maybe 12-piece. Because when it comes to fried chicken, more just means more happy. So if you're shopping chicken, shop Cub fried chicken and shop happy.
Hey Gopher fans, Bobby Durkin here from Minnesota men's basketball. In our program, championship culture is built on toughness, trust, and showing up every day to do the work. That's why I'm proud to support the True North family of companies. True North invests in elite teams, like the championship team at True North Mergers and Acquisitions, Minnesota's largest seller of companies. To learn more about True North and their family of independently owned companies, visit thetruenorthfamily.com. That's how champions are built.
Episode 214 rolls on with Boom May. You've been a head coach at the high school level and the college level. Had success at Augsburg on the men's side, twice into the tournament in 2 years, a Frozen Four at the Division III level. Farmington and Blake at the high school level. What do you take from those experiences that can help you here, even if it's boys and men's? And you're now working, obviously, the women's here.
Yeah, it's also an interesting question. Like, part of me says coaching is coaching. And I do believe that. Like the same things, I've never been in an NHL locker room. I would have to imagine the same stuff that John Hines is talking to his Wild players about is probably similar stuff, if not the same, that we're talking to our players about here, or going back to my time at the high school level with 16, 18-year-old boys. We're still teaching the same concepts. Is the game a little bit different? Yeah, probably. Like I think if someone goes to watch a female hockey game versus a men's game, there's differences that you probably see, especially when you're watching it for the first time. But I think you just take a little bit from everything. Next year's, believe it or not, going to be my 20th year coaching, which is just crazy. I feel like it's still one of my first 5 years. But you take little things from each place you've been, like messaging, timing of messaging. Do you push here or do you pull back? Do you put your arm around them today, or do you break them down to build them back up later on in the week? Do you take today off and go do a team activity that's going to surprise them after a hard weekend when they're expecting to get buried on Monday? And I don't know if there's an answer to any of those things, but you have experience because you've done it in the past as well. Like my Augsburg one was a great example. My first year, things could not have gone any smoother. We were 25-5. It was like if we were down a goal late, we were scoring. If it was an overtime game, we were winning it. Like it was just almost easy. Like it's like how because it's not supposed to be this easy. The next year, we returned almost everybody. Had a bunch of kids. This is still during the fifth year COVID stuff. Had a bunch of players that came back to play a fifth year. It's Division III, right? They're 24, 25 years old, some of these kids, after they aged out of juniors. They didn't have to come back and play another year of Division III hockey. They could have moved on with their life and whatnot, and they came back to play for me and to play for our school again. And that year couldn't have been more opposite. Like we found ourselves on a 4-game skid. We lost 4-5 at one time, and we use the term crap island, but we were on crap island that year and trying to find ways to like just get off the island and swim to that dang boat that's out there. And if you're jumping off, grab 2 people with you and throw them in the water so we can swim there. And we found a way. And I think one of the hardest things to do as a coach is to be on quote unquote crap island and to get off of that island and to peak at the right time, because it's so easy just to go stay in that tank and go in the tank even further when you're there. So, I think it's just picking up little things from each place you go. And of course you work with different staffs at all these places too. Right. So you learn things along the way from them, not only X's and O's, but running practices, running drills, how they coach on the bench, how they speak to players on and off the ice as well. So, the experience is definitely invaluable.
How about your time with the men's team with Bob Motzko and staff? What do you take from that?
Yeah, awesome. I owe a ton to Bob, and I've said this multiple times now, but he took a chance on a guy that was coaching high school hockey. I was coaching at Blake at the time, and he took a chance to give me a to give me a chance to chase my dream of doing what I'm doing today. So I owe a ton to him, and I probably learn, like, each year that goes by, I actually probably recall more and more that I learned when I was there. The obvious is I was in the ops role there, so I thought I knew about video. Like, I'm a high school coach that, been to state tournaments and won conference championships, and it's like I know how to do video. It's like it's so different at this level, how you break down the video, how you break it down live in games, what you're showing to players individually. Taking a 30-minute video session and trying to boil it down to 6 minutes, or even like 3 minutes of tape time, but 6, 7 minutes, 8 minutes of the players actually being in front of you. When do you eat your meals? Again, it's like such obvious things now that we're at this level.
Yeah.
But like, when do you eat your pregame meals? What does postgame meal look like? Pre and post practice recovery and prehab type stuff. As a high school coach, I thought I knew it. You just don't know that until you're there. And then, of course, one of the years there, I think we had 14 or 17 NHL draft picks.
Yeah. So
you're literally rubbing shoulders with some of the best and first rounders and guys that are currently playing in the league and contributing right now. And then again, besides Bob, just the rest of their staff, Garrett Raboin, who's now at Augustana, just seeing how hard these people work. Ben Gordon, who's still here, first one in, last one out. Like, they're in their office grinding. They're on the road recruiting, and it's not someone telling them to go recruit. Bob's not telling them, hey, go watch this game today or go make sure you get to this game. They're doing it because they're doing their homework and they're pros, and this is who I need to see, and this is where I need to be this week, regardless if someone tells me to or not. So, I honestly, I learned so. I would not be here today if Bob did not take a chance on me 7 years ago. There's no chance.
Yeah, and now you go to Augsburg from there, and then you mentioned Frosty gives you the shot here. What do you take from Brad Frost, four-time national championship-winning head coach?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I told our players this actually throughout this year. Frosty's 52 years old. I hope I'm not outing his age here, but he's 52 years old. If he wanted to be the winningest coach ever in women's college hockey, he would do it, like, just by sheer number, by time. If he continues to coach, he's going to do that if you just do the math. And I say that because he's literally one of the greatest women's college hockey coaches of all time. National champion, like, we're not even talking national championships yet, or conference championships, or Frozen Four appearances. And again, he took a chance on someone. I have zero women's hockey experience other than I had my own company that I did camps and small group stuff with in the summers, and I had a group of probably 12 to 15 Division I women that I trained each summer for about 3 to 5 years, depending on which player it was. So I had some experience there, but I wasn't telling that athlete what line they're on. I wasn't telling them they're on the power play. I wasn't telling them, that they're up in the stands today. I wasn't trying to get them out of their slump. I wasn't doing video with them. So it's way different when you're coaching these players during the season than you are just doing skill stuff and you're everyone's best friend. You're telling them how good they are all the time and everything, right? So I still remember Frosty calling me and asking me if I had interest in being his top assistant. And I was like, well, short answer is yeah, I have a lot of interest. I have no idea really what that even means or what, or even how to coach women, but he took a chance, and he always felt, he told me this all the time, he always felt that I had the personality and the skill set that would translate well to women. Going back to my 2 daughters, I feel like that was a huge piece of it too. I say this kind of in joke, but not like, it's one of the greatest things I've done as a father is moved over to the women's side.
Sure.
Just what it's done for my girls, or role models that they're around all the time. Again, the accessibility that they have to these high level players and coaches and stuff. But I mean, I owe a ton to Frosty, and we'll be good friends till the day one of us dies. So we're close.
And you just never know in transition like this. So, but you guys are still talking, and I mean, Frosty's such a good dude. It doesn't surprise me, but you just never know. But it's good.
Yes, it's great, and he's been so supportive these last week or two, whatever long it's been, 2 weeks really, even before I got fully hired. he's been so supportive, almost overboard supportive, honestly, in a positive way. I was telling my wife the other day, I was like, I'm kind of just waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm like, is it going to go the other way at some point? But because he's such a good man, I just know that he's going to be in my corner, for as long as I'm in this thing.
Yeah. Couple of other quick ones, and we're already at 30 minutes. I told you 30 minutes, but man, I've got a long list here. We're rolling. I got to mention a quick sponsor first, though. Weather is warming up. That means it's time to get out on the water, and if you like to fish, let the onX Fish app help you find the next best bite. The Fish app offers the most comprehensive fishing tool for increasing your success. Use the Fish app to find new places to fish. You can sort by lakes, species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potential. onX Fish also shows you hotspots, lake-by-lake regulations, private and public land ownership info, and more. Download onX Fish on the App Store or go to onxmaps.com/fish. 7-day free trial. Get more info about the app that's changing the game on the water. Do you fish much?
I would love to do it if people ask me to do it. Yeah. I have no idea what I'm doing when I'm out there, but it's fun.
Oh, there you go. Gopher fans. Boom wants a little fishing expedition here this spring and summer. So email him and get him out on the water, no doubt. All right, let's talk real quick, a couple of quick ones. In the news conference, you talked about your background being California. Mm-hmm. So tell me, you were born in California. Your dad was a hockey fan of some sort?
Yeah, born in California. Interesting kind of background. So my mom's Indonesian, so Dutch Indonesian. So she was actually born in Indonesia. Her parents were born in Indonesia. My dad is just a European blend, and they met in California. In the, I guess, 70s, 80s type time. So yes, I was born there. My dad kind of picked up hockey, men's hockey, like in his 30s, and just fell in love with it right away. And this was actually like before the Gretzky. This is like the Dave Taylor, the Marcel Dion, like that area of LA Kings hockey. But my parents' first date was at a Kings game,
really, at
the Great Western Forum. So anyway, so I say I'm a Cali kid. I actually only lived there till I was 6, but I did start my hockey there. I played in Pasadena when I was there, and my brother played. My brother's 5 years older than me. He played there. He played for the California Wildcats and whatnot. So our start really did, we really did get our start in hockey there. And I don't know if my dad fully admits this, but I'm pretty positive that a huge part of us moving to Minnesota was because of hockey.
I was going to ask, that was on my list.
Yeah,
like was it?
I do think it was that. I think it was part. I have an older sister too, and so my brother and sister were kind of that junior high, middle school age. I think it was part not wanting us to grow up in LA, and also I do think that part of it was hockey. I really do. So we moved to Burnsville, and at the time when we moved to Burnsville in 1991, I mean it was the sports, of every sport, honestly. But yeah, it was a power. I mean, we must have had over 100 kids that were trying out for our squirt teams and peewee teams and bantam teams. And, nowadays you got, if you don't make varsity as a 9th grader, it's like you're a failure supposedly. Yeah. And at that time, if you made it as a sophomore, you were like a legend. So just totally different times there. But yeah, I mean, we started on rollerblades and we started outside stick handling in our backyard like a true California kid would do.
Wow. So you get here, you're 6 or 7, right? And you had skated some. So the hockey, we talked about all the girls hockey players, 30%, again, AI, I think that's about right. 30% of all American college players are born here. You integrated right into this community-based, which is pretty unique to Minnesota. Yeah. I grew up in Iowa. I've told this story all the time. I moved here in 2006. I have a 6-year-old and a 5-year-old, and didn't think at all. My kids did not play hockey, only because I just didn't even know what was going on. And I don't think they regret that. I've always thought, gosh, I wonder at 6 if I'd have put either in skates where it would have turned out. But my son was a pretty good baseball player, and one of the guys that I coached my son's baseball team with, they were hockey people. Okay. And that to me is probably one of the most shocking parts of having, now I'm here 20 years, so it's been a while, was just the culture of hockey and just how the state embraces it. They're like, Trevor's going to miss school on Friday. We're going to Fargo. I'm like, miss school? Yeah. Oh, you teachers are okay with that? Well, yeah. Playing in a tournament.
Yeah.
He's 12.
Right.
No problem. And next week we're going to Duluth. And the week after that, we're skipping Friday school. And it was just totally accepted.
Yeah.
And here we are with all these hockey players. And, if you skip a few Fridays, who cares, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you're growing as anyway, that's a total sidebar, but you move here from California. How much did that culture, you just kind of embrace it and go?
Yeah, we lived walking distance from the rink. We lived walking distance from an outdoor rink, Timberland Park in Burnsville, that we grew up on. I was 6 going on 7, so like part of me feels like that's all I knew. Really, I do remember some things from California. I remember the team I played on. I remember rollerblading out there all the time and stuff. But, I kind of only knew that model. But even then, like thinking back, like in Burnsville, again, kind of hotbed of Burnsville, and it's all in-house. Like we didn't travel. Like playing mite hockey, we didn't travel to go play Edina or Jefferson, or like we played the other Burnsville teams.
Sure.
And if I remember correctly, it was actually like school-based, so like wherever you live, like that's what team you were on. And it wasn't, again, it was not to rip on parents nowadays, but it wasn't like, you take them out of mites and go do this, or you take them out of mites and go move them up to this level. It's just, this is your in-house team. And if you have an elite player on your team and you have someone that's just learning how to skate, like that's the team you're on. So, it's cool. I mean, it's still to this day is one of the coolest things. And it's funny you bring that up about just the hockey culture in Minnesota. Like my U8 just missed school for a local tournament in Bloomington the other day.
That's when they needed ice.
And by the way, it's the off season. It's not even in season right now. But like if you go to a restaurant, it's impossible to not see multiple families wearing their youth association, right? Like no matter what, like if you look at a table, there's a chance that family plays hockey. I mean, it's crazy. And I don't know if there's anywhere else like this. Frosty's a Canadian. He used to always say that when we're recruiting Canadians, that Minnesota's the closest thing to Canada as far as how big of a deal hockey is. I don't know. I go to Canada quite a bit for hockey. I feel like Minnesota might be a bigger deal, honestly.
It's crazy. You mentioned the restaurants. You can't go to a place. I mean, pull tabs are only invented here to fund hockey.
Exactly.
I don't know. Is there any place that you go play pull tabs? I don't play them because I don't have a lot of money. And the money I do, I don't feel like throwing it away. But anyway, that's a whole sidebar. It's always hockey. It's always, we were just in Bloomington, and Bloomington Jefferson. We were playing bingo Saturday with some friends, and it was, and the bingo was paying pretty. The winners, I missed. I didn't win, but the winners were making pretty good money. Mm-hmm. The restaurant's full on a Saturday afternoon, and all these guys with Bloomington Jefferson hats are walking around selling bingo cards, and pull tabs the same way.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's like it's not even that it supplements it. It basically funds. It funds it. Yeah, it is crazy.
It's nuts. Boom, your nickname. You mentioned. Before you're even born, you got that name. So take us through that.
So again, older brother, older sister, 5 and 7 years older. And when my mom was pregnant with me, anytime they would feel me move around or kick around, they called me Boom Boom. And it's so I was Boom Boom when I was little, and it's just shortened over the years. Some people call me Boomer, some just call me Boom. I actually have Boom Boom tattooed on me because I thought it was going to leave me at one point, and it never has. But yeah, I mean, honestly, no one really calls me Greg. It actually feels weird when people do call me Greg. It's kind of just my name. Actually, some of my closest friends like, why don't you just change your name to Boom? Like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that yet, but it really is just my name.
Yeah. So anybody that's been around you do you have friends that don't even know your name's Greg? Do you think?
Probably
or acquaintances?
There's for sure acquaintances. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure there are.
And they're probably going, why in the heck does everyone call that guy Boom? But that must be his name.
Yeah. Like teachers that I was close with, or professors in college, and all of my coaches, my parents. I mean, every family member. Yeah.
When you were going to school, though, teachers would call on you as Greg.
They would. Until probably till college, I would say, is where some started calling me Boom. Yeah. But then my friends would call me Boom in class. So, I don't know. It's so weird. I think about that often too. Of like, I go into a new environment. It's like, how does that? It's honestly probably from my family, or like, they meet my wife. My wife calls me Boom. It's like, what did you just call him? And then it just kind of starts.
And it goes
there because I'm still probably 50-50 on whether I introduce myself as Greg or Boom, just because I don't really feel like having someone say, what did you say? Or what's your name?
They can create an hour.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So depending on the environment I'm in is what I decide to introduce myself as.
Yeah, and so it's been Boom since before you were born.
Yeah,
so
literally.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. what is now, like, as you have this, I guess we're hitting spring, the weather's warming up. Long term, obviously, we've talked about your vision, how you want your team to play. Short term, staff wise, different things. What's next for you now?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you just said. It's finalizing our staff. We're getting close. There's a short list I'm working through right now, having conversations with these folks. Actually, one that I'm going to have here this afternoon as well. Exciting time, a little bit of stress, just because. Just trying to figure out who's going to best complement me and our players, and do you want to come, right? So there's that piece, and again, I'm hoping that within the next. I'm hoping, honestly, within the next week, we have at least one additional assistant coach, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks, my staff is finalized as far as that goes. And then it's recruiting. Right now, it's heavy recruiting. June 15th is our big date in women's hockey, when we can start making contact with the, I guess this should be the 2028 grads. So it's finalizing our lists. It's putting our names on a board as far as priority goes and whatnot. And then I would say on top of the staffing and the recruiting, it's getting together once I have my staff, but even beforehand on my own, of just what do I really want to emphasize day one. So I talk about identity, right? Like, I know how we want to play or how I want our group to play. What are we going to do to make sure that is clear from day one? We talked about our core values. Frosty's had the same core values here for 19 years. And this, when I joined him, we kind of dusted them off, polished them off a little bit. And, do I want to change those? It's a new coach. It's a new era. I'm very values based also. But just like everyone, like, I have my own values too. So just little things like that I'm trying to make sure I put pen to paper right now, so that I'm clear with our players when we do hit the ground running. Our players are in spring training right now. They just started their first day today over in the weight room. I'm sure they're getting on the ice as well. But yeah, just trying to get organized so that when the rubber meets the road, we're on top of things.
Quick hitter here, and then we'll let you go. Such a changing landscape. Name, image, and likeness. We hear, obviously, it's huge in the revenue sports. What is it in women's hockey right now? What does it have to be here for you to do what you want to do?
It's definitely there. It's definitely seeping more and more in. I'm not naive. We're never going to be football or the basketballs, or probably even men's hockey as far as that goes. But we bring it up with recruits, and what we bring, we're a Big Ten school, so we're going to be on the forefront as far as that goes. If there are opportunities in the women's side, we're still trying to learn it. From a staff standpoint, one advantage that we have is that Jess Scott is our general manager, and she started to take the lead on this last year. My goal is to have her really, really take the lead on it this year, with finding ways to grow our NIL pot, I guess, if you will.
Right.
Learning exactly what we can do with NIL, because it is coming, and if we want to be in the ballpark with the top 1%ers, not only in the country but in the world, if another school is offering something, we better be able to offer that too, because sometimes, unfortunately, it is what it comes down to with these players, and we have plenty of players right now that are on NIL deals, and some that are making some pretty decent money, and other ones that are just getting free burritos or whatever it is, but it's definitely something that's in our group right now, and it's only gonna grow. It's inevitable. It's only gonna grow.
And that's I would in a weird way, where right now with you guys, that's probably closer to the original intent of name, image, and likeness, whether it's burritos or a deal to, hey, a car dealer, whatever it is, where, some of the things we're seeing at this high level where some of these football teams are having $40 million payrolls, that's probably not the original intent.
Exactly. I don't know if it's the spirit of how it started, but I also don't know how it's even happening in those places. But
that's crazy.
And we'll never, I don't think we'll ever get there.
Yeah.
But you do start to see it more and more, and hear people talk about it, and hearing even parents and players when you're recruiting them bringing it up just to see what the option is.
Well, very good, man. That was fun. It was fun to find out a little bit more about you, and I'm really looking forward to the future here of Gopher women's hockey.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
All right, there he is. Boom May, the new coach of the Golden Gopher women's hockey team. It's episode 214.
My thanks to brand new Gopher women's hockey coach Greg Boom May for joining me and spending some of his day with us on the Go Gopher Podcast. It's a very busy time for head coaches. It was absolutely awesome getting to know Boom a little better, and I hope you enjoyed listening to our conversation as much as I enjoyed being a part of it. Episode 214 is presented by Sunbelt Business Advisors and True North Mergers and Acquisitions. If you're buying or selling a business, visit sunbeltminnesota.com or tnma.com. Cub is a proud supporter of Gopher Athletics for over 20 years and a proud sponsor of the Go Gopher Podcast. Cub, bigger savings on the items you love. Shop happy. And OnX Fish also sponsors our show. Happy fishing from OnX Maps. Again, I'd invite you to listen to past podcasts, and please be sure to subscribe or follow the Go Gopher Podcast right now. It's free to follow, free to subscribe, and free to listen at any time. And please share the link to the podcast with others so they can subscribe and listen as well. And if you enjoyed the podcast, give us a little positive feedback on your social media channels. We'll talk again next week.
Know what happy is? Veggies. Crunchy, crispy, colorful, seasonal, aromatic, juicy veggies. Produce at its freshest. Cub produce. Best produce, period. Guaranteed to make you happy or will replace it. No questions asked. Because good produce makes veggie lovers happy. Just remember, fresh, happy. Stale, limp, and wilted, not happy. You want to make a veggie lover happy? Shop Cub for produce and shop happy.